Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the top 5 baits for pond fishing. So let's get into it. We'll see you underwater. Alright guys, when I'm fishing ponds, the number one thing I want to think of is covering water, right? I want to cover as much water in a pond as I can and try to generate bites. If I can't generate bites, then I'm going to go to high percentage areas. I'm going to slow down and milk those areas with baits that I know are going to get bit. We're talking about ponds that we've never been to or ponds that we've struggled at. Or, you know, you're driving past a pond, you stop and fish it one day. The first bait that I'm going to pick up to cover water effectively in a pond is the chatterbait. Now, why the chatterbait? 3 reasons. All right. Number one, the chatterbait does an awesome job mimicking bluegill, right? Specifically bluegill because most ponds have bluegill, bream, whatever you want to call them. And the chatterbait does an awesome job coming through the water, getting that nice slamming action there. I love the chatterbait because it's also, the second reason, it's great in grass. Most ponds have grass or some kind of aquatic vegetation in them. The chatterbait is going to come through there really nicely. And number 3, it's just a great reaction bait for 12 months out of the year. There's not a wrong time that you can fish the chatterbait. You can slow roll it when it's cold. You can burn it when it's hot. The chatterbait is one of those things that's just going to get bit. Now, chatterbaits that I like to throw, the evergreen jackhammer, big time. But I've also started throwing the mini max, and the mini max has caught me a lot of fish in pressured ponds. The other thing about the chatterbait is the trailer, right? I like grubs as trailers, or I like crawfish as trailers. I don't like swimbaits as trailers as much because the tail is kind of lazy. So if I'm imitating a bluegill, I want it to look like a bluegill profile. Claws kicking in the back, give it that nice bluegill profile. Grubs, give it that nice big thick profile on there. Jackhammer or mini max, you choose. Both of them are going to get bit equally as well, but the first bait I'm picking up in any pond situation, chatterbait, right? Number 2, still covering water. If they're not going to eat the chatterbait, they will eat a 3.8-inch swim bait on an owner flashy swimmer, right? Owner flashy swimmer, I like to throw the 3.0 hook with the 1/8 ounce size, and it's got that nice willow leaf on there. The 3.8 bait fish profile, and you can throw a Kitech, you can throw a ripple shad, you can throw a raid shad, you can throw the Guggen bait of it. This right here is the 13 Fishing 6 cents, the whale, right? And literally the 3.8 size is the right size to generate a lot of bites. You can catch a 6-inch bass on the 3.8. You can catch a 12-pounder, right? I really enjoy throwing the owner flashy swimmer because it comes through all cover, and 2, it generates bites. I can swim that bait in and around. It's going to catch them. I can throw it in the dead heat of the summer. Still going to catch them. Right? I have a ton of faith and belief in that size. Now, if you're in a pond where you know there are bigger fish, upsize to the 4.0 flashy swimmer, throw the 4.2 or the 4.8 Kitech, or the 4.5, right? Literally, you can throw a swim bait on that hook and it's going to get bit. Heck, I can fish 98% of the ponds that I'm talking about with the chatterbait or the swim bait and get a lot of bites. They're just baits that generate bites and come through cover well. So the first 2 things that I'm focused on in a pond is throwing a reaction bait and covering a lot of water. Now, once I start to catch fish in an area, I'm gonna pick up one of 2 baits. So our third bait right here is going to be the finesse worm. I like the 4-inch finesse worm in ponds. Remember, in ponds, there's not a ton of big forage. You're also trying to get your bang for your buck. If you're fishing ponds, you're not out there all day pond fishing. You're out there for an hour and a half. You're out there for an hour on your lunch break trying to catch them. You just got home from work. The wife and kids aren't home yet. You got 40 minutes to go out there and catch some fish. You're gonna throw this 4-inch worm. Now, here is the Berkeley Powerbait Rib Worm. It's a 4-inch worm. It is deadly. This is the bait that I grew up catching bass on in local ponds back where I grew up, and I cannot tell you the amount of fish that I've caught on this bait. I Texas rig it, I free rig it, I do all kinds of different things with it because it's a bait that generates bites. The beauty of this rig too is if you throw it on a 16th ounce weight pegged Texas rig, you can swim this bait over the top of emergent vegetation and it's gonna get lit up. Same thing, you can throw this bad boy on a 3/8 ounce head and get it all the way down and dredge the bottom of the pond and twitch it along. It's going to get bit. But that Powerbait rib worm or those slider type worms, you know, that are 4-inch dead French fry worms versus that hook tail on this one, those 4-inch finesse worms are going to generate bites everywhere. And if you're having a tough day at the pond, this bait is going to get it done for you right here. It's unassuming, it's quiet, you can put it into a lot of places, and a bonus, you can put this bait on that owner flashy swimmer and fish it just as effectively. Carrying less gear is huge in ponds, but this can be both a search bait and a contact bait or a cover bait if you need it to be. It's extremely versatile, great way to catch them. So that's 3 baits right there. The 4th bait I'm gonna throw, and this might be controversial to a lot of guys, but it's done me a lot of good service this year, is the tube. Specifically the Texas rigged tube with a rattle inside of it. This bait has literally blown up for me in the past 3 months, fishing cold conditions, fishing conditions on lakes that aren't ideal. True fact is the tube simply will get bit when nothing else will. I don't know what it is about the tube. It's got that subtle action, it's got that nice fall, it's got that spiral. Fish will eat it. They'll eat it in 50 feet of water. They'll eat it in inches of water, right? The tube is a killer. I believe strongly in the Maxent tube. I believe it pays into that big time. If you watch my videos, you've seen me fish a tube. Plus, the cool thing about a tube, you throw a 1/2 ounce Texas rigged weight in that tube on a 4-0 hook, you can throw this thing dang near across any pond you can find, right? And just drag it along the bottom, hop it, you run into cover, you can flip it in there, Texas rigged. It's simply going to generate bites. Now, if you don't have the tube insert weights, fish it on a jig head. Same thing. Fish it on a 4-0 worm with the Texas rig weight in front of it. The tube will get you bit, and it's going to do a great job for you in generating bites in warm water to cold water. Remember, we're talking about top 4. Not every bait is built for pond fishing perfectly, but these ones so far are pretty good. Last one, gonna be the frog, right? Some ponds, the only thing you can fish there because of the cover being a slop mat, being that is the frog. Now, the frog is going to generate bites and it's going to generate big bites, right? We like the KVD sexy frog. We like the live target frog. We like the poppin' frog. We like the spro frog. Oh, frog. There are 2 types of frogs, right? You have that open cupped popper that's better around cover, but not so much slop. And then you have that pointed nose regular frog that's great in slop and cover and heavy, heavy stuff. The cool thing about the frog is you can throw it everywhere. It's 4-wheel drive, ATV, right? You can throw a frog in anywhere. You can skip it under docks, under branches. You can throw it into laydowns. You can throw it into slop mats. Literally, frogs will get bit and frogs will generate some massive bites for you. And frogs are something that a lot of pond guys overlook because of casting angles and things, but let me tell you folks, a frog will absolutely generate the right kind of bites for you, throwing it in the correct situation. So there's our top 5 pond fishing baits, right? The Chatterbait, the Swimbait, the tube, the finesse worm, the frog, all cheap baits, all ways to get bit that are going to take your game to the next level. Now, the bonus bait that we're gonna talk about right now, the glide bait, friends. The glide bait, especially the S-Waver 168. This bait in ponds and in lakes, but especially in ponds where fish have not seen this glide bait profile, The biggest fish in the pond will absolutely positively kill this bait. It's also a good bait to throw in ponds where you don't know what kind of fish are there because it has drawing power. It's going to pull fish off of cover so that you can see them. Fish will follow your bait back in. It will let you know exactly what kind of fish are swimming in the pond that you are fishing. It is a killer way to look and understand what caliber of fish are in the pond and what they are willing to bite. I have some big catches on glide baits in random little ponds and random subdivisions that I stopped and fished for a half an hour, right? It's a great way to see what swims in there. It's not going to get bit all the time, but when it does get bit, it's going to be the right kind. If you just had a rain and you got a storm drain washing water into a pond, throw a glide bait through there, and it's going to absolutely catch the biggest fish that is in that water system. It just is. They're drawn to that current. They're drawn to stuff in there. It looks like something swimming out of that muck and mire. They're going to absolutely light it up. Kill on the spot, right? So guys, the channel is growing. I hope you are enjoying the videos. I hope you're enjoying the underwater stuff. We got some big bait stuff coming. We got some finesse stuff coming. We got some underwater stuff coming. We got some multi-species stuff coming. We got some river stuff coming. So let us know in the comments what you want to see from the channel in the future. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe. Head us up. We're going to have merch out soon. Let us know what you want. But thanks for hanging out with us today, guys. We'll see you next time.